Hello and welcome to Odds on La Liga Match Day 5. Real Madrid keep going with their perfect start of the season, not only in La Liga, but also in the Champions League. And Alvaro, a lot of La Liga teams, actually 3 La Liga teams, getting defeats against Premier League teams. There are even some people still believing that La Liga is the best league in the world. That time has passed, in my opinion.
Well, I could see the difference in the squads and in the depth of the squads. I think that Villarreal should have gotten a point at the Spurs Stadium. So here, I think that they were a little bit unlucky. But when it came to Atletico and Liverpool, look, Liverpool scored very early against Atletico Madrid, 2 goals. But Atletico played really well, pretty much until the end. But I could really tell that Liverpool has something else. There is no player in Atletico de Madrid like Virgil van Dijk. Atletico has a shorter squad than Liverpool. We talk about the investment of Atletico de Madrid, but it's incomparable to what Liverpool has done in the market. And then Athletic Bilbao and Arsenal was another example of that, but more extreme even, because Athletic Bilbao played good 60 minutes, but then they had to replace players. The new additions didn't bring as much as Gabriel Martinelli or Leandro Trossard, the players who scored for Arsenal at the end to give 3 points to Arsenal in the start of the Champions League. So yes, let's see how Barcelona does against Newcastle United. I think that the Spanish teams are going to qualify, most of them, for the next round of the Champions League. This is about going through. And when it comes to La Liga, it's an interesting round, this one. Funnily, the 4 sides that are in the Champions League are playing against each other. Barcelona against Getafe, Real Madrid against Espanyol. If there are any safe bets or safe things in La Liga right now, is that Barcelona and Real Madrid are normally winning. And I will say that Getafe, whenever they are facing an opponent of their size or smaller, they are getting a good result too. These are the biggest constants in La Liga so far. But La Liga has started with a little bit of inconsistency and irregularity among, I will say, 15 of the 20 sides.
Well, let's analyze all the games, all the teams. As always, I encourage you to tell us your tips. And of course, press the like, subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. And on Friday, we have an interesting Betis, Real Sociedad. Betis is one of these inconsistent teams. It's been like that, actually, for a while, but the start of the season has been so. 6 points. Remember that they played 1 game more because they are playing Europa League next week, and we have La Liga midweek games. They only could draw with Levante. Actually, they were 2-0 down. And the Real Sociedad, they haven't been inconsistent, Alvaro. They've been consistently bad, I would say, in this start of the season. There are rumors already talking about Sergio Francisco being the first manager getting sacked. Only 2 points. And against Real Madrid, they lost even playing against them men.
Despite having played for a while against them men, yeah, absolutely. I think that I have to deem Betis as favorite in this game. Of course, you never know, because these 2 sides really, they got similar levels. I mean, if they fulfill all their potential, they should be kind of similar, even though I think that Betis right now has a slightly better squad. But Real Sociedad's numbers are there. I mean, both teams are carrying, especially Real Sociedad, dynamics from the last season. I think that Betis has been inconsistent, yes, but inside their inconsistency, they still got enough points to say that they have had an okay start. Whereas Real Sociedad last season, they were carrying a bad dynamic. I think that the last year of 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 as their coach wasn't good. And Sergio Francisco was this low-key appointment that so far hasn't clicked. And Real Sociedad is very pale when it comes to attacking. It's a side that is showing some numbers that are the numbers of a team that has just gotten promoted to La Liga. It's the lowest in expected goals, which is a metric that sometimes we have to take into consideration. Real Sociedad barely creates quality goal chances. And obviously, naturally, is the 4th team with less shots per game. So they haven't had such a difficult start, apart from, the game against Real Madrid. and it's been disappointing so far. I have to consider Betis favorite basically because they are playing at home. Not that I think that they are overwhelmingly favorite. That's why I'm going to go for an ace and handicap minus 0.25 for Betis. I always explain what this means. If Betis draws, you suffer half a lose. But if they win, which I believe that they have a chance, you win all your stake. That will pay 170.
Betis to score in the first half, especially with Anthony back. Betis double chance over 1.5 goals. This shouldn't pay too much, actually. Betis to win. As Patrick is telling us, pays much more, of course, 2.13, which is fine, I would say. For Saturday, Girona Levante. Early days, but this should be a relegation 6-pointer because we've been talking a lot about Girona and the way they are getting worse and worse, selling the best players. Last season struggled to stay in Primera, and this season only 1 point. Actually, they were this close to win against Celta de Vigo, but a late goal deny the first win. And Levante, they've been competitive, especially at home, but no wins yet. Only 1 point, and away they lost to Elche and Alavés. Alvaro, I guess we should expect Girona finally to get a win.
Yeah, but they are low in the table. They are not going through a good time. This is a team between two sides that have conceded a lot, and they don't concede. They don't score that many goals. So it's a tricky one, really. It's a tricky one. I mean, my guts are telling me that Girona has a bigger chance of winning this game because they are playing at home, all right? But then if you check the reality, and again, the dynamic they carry from the last season, it's difficult to consider Girona is even slightly favorite for any game. Too many players left. The mood in the camp is different to what it was 2 years ago, 1 year ago, when Girona was in the Champions League. And Levante is finding the adaptation to Primera División difficult. I thought that it would be slightly more easy for them because at the end of the day, I think that they negotiated the second division very well. But now, once we are in September 2025, we can say that the team that has adapted better to the top flight football from all the promoted sides has been Elche, not Levante. Levante is finding it very difficult. Both teams, Girona and Levante, they've got 1 point apiece. 11 goals conceded for Girona, 9 goals conceded for Levante. This is a tricky one. Look, I would say that if you think that Girona, just because they are playing at home, can get something out of this game, you should go for an ace and handicap minus 0.25 for them, maybe. But this game is a big pass for me. Otherwise, there is a decent money in under 2.75 goals because these teams, it's true, they concede a lot, but they don't score many. The money for under 2.75 goals is 170, but I think that there are more interesting games somewhere else, like Real Madrid Espanyol, for example, where I am already ready to give an ACCA or small ACCA inside the game.
Mbappé to score for sure. Girona was good against Arsenal. Correct score 1-1.
Girona against Arsenal.
Against Celta. Sorry, I
said Celta.
Celta. No. Those days are gone, I think, for seeing Girona playing in Europe against Celta. Indeed. Real Madrid Espanyol is the next game. Indeed, 4:15. Great time, actually, to watch Real Madrid. And, it's been a perfect start in the numbers for Xabi Alonso with Real Madrid. All wins in La Liga, 4 out of 4 in the Champions League against Olympique Marseille. It's true that the team is suffering in every single game. The last 2 actually playing against 10 men. The last one against Marseille, missing so many chances, and at the end, a penalty that, in my opinion, it was not humble. But they are winning, and I think, Alvaro, they are winning especially because they have the Mbappé, the best player in the world, no doubt about it. Without Mbappé, this would be another think, because the team is not playing particularly well, I think there are some issues, especially with Vinicius, I must underline, not playing at his level, Rodrigo and some other players still with a hole in the midfield, but the job has been accomplished. And what to say about Espanyol, one of the surprises of the season. Last year, they were fighting against relegation until the end, and now 10 points that could have been actually 12, because against Real Sociedad also they were this close to get the win in San Sebastián.
Yeah. Espanyol is one of the big surprises of the season so far. Again, last season in the second half of the competition, they were better than in the first half, and that's why they stayed in Primera. They have built from there, and I think that they are a fine side, composed. They've got a very good balance between defense and attack. It's not that it's difficult to define them as defensive or offensive. I think that they are a very well-balanced team, and I have right now no reason to believe that Espanyol is going to suffer. But traveling to Santiago Bernabeu is a totally different story. I think that Real Madrid hasn't been great, but they've been good enough. And while they are improving, while players are coming back, maybe Jude Bellingham is back this weekend, by the way, Real Madrid is getting the results. All wins so far in the Champions League as well. They have played in total, I think that 5 games, and they got 2 clean sheets. So that's something that we have to take into consideration as well. Real Madrid is not conceding many goals. I think that the 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗀, after the game against Olympique Marseille, was saying that the team is pressing better without the ball. I don't want to understand that like a message to Vinicius, but it's true that Vinicius is not playing a lot. And last season, Real Madrid, at this point, more or less, they went into a crazy campaign just to defend Vinicius to win the Ballon d'Or, to the point that the club didn't travel to receive the Ballon d'Or ceremony, and at the end Rodri got the award. This season is different. Suddenly Real Madrid or the Real Madrid coach and the club as well understands that Vinicius doesn't need to play every game. In fact, I don't think that Vinicius has completed 90 minutes this season, and they are fine because Mbappé is very good. Mbappé is very good, and he's making the difference. I think Real Madrid has been good defensively. They press well, and Mbappé is making the difference. Not Mastantuono, not 𝗲𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏𝗀, not Rodrigo, not Vinicius. It's been Kylian Mbappé alone. It's been his show. So they've got the best defense altogether with Osasuna, Real Madrid. They know that Mbappé is scoring. So I'm going to go for Real Madrid to win and Mbappé to score. It's my small ACCA inside this game. It's been happening a lot in La Liga. It's not going to happen forever, but at home, and considering the run that Mbappé is enjoying right now, I'm ready to back this. It pays 191. Otherwise, just keep into consideration that Real Madrid has played 5 games this season. 2 of them were clean sheets, and Real Madrid is not conceding a lot of goals. It's not conceding a lot. It's true that they have had silly red cards, like the other one with 𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲 the other day, Carvajal getting another one against Olympique Marseille. This has to stop. It has to stop. It is the stops. Real Madrid will be closer to recording clean sheets. So a win to nil for Real Madrid pays 220. But I prefer to go for the mini ACCA, as I said. Real Madrid to win and Mbappé to score, 191.
It's only 3 goal scorers actually for Real Madrid this season. So there is a problem there. The other players must step up. You mentioned them: Brahim, Mastantuono, Rodrigo, Vinicius. They should improve. Real Madrid to win. There you go with the standings, the statistics about Mbappé. Real Madrid to win and over 2.5 goals. Real Madrid to win both halves, draw, and both teams to score for Arnaldus. Mbappé anytime scorer. Last time Espanyol won at the Bernabeu was 30 years ago, and Camacho was Espanyol manager. So imagine.
Perhaps. Maybe, Edu, I'm gonna speak from the top of my mind, but Florian Radiochoyu, Pacheta, Pochettino, Tony, Jordi Lardín, these players who have been there. Espanyol had a very good side at the time. Yeah. And they got better as the decade went by, but it's a long time. It's a very long time.
Well, Espanyol played a Europa League final not long time ago, and I heard the manager saying that the first goal is to be back again in Primera División in the mid-table. It's a big club in Spain, so I hope also they achieve this and they can be quiet this season, not threatened by the relegation. Next game, Alavés Sevilla. Both teams, actually, I think they will be close to the relegation spots, although Alavés had a great start, 7 points, beating Athletic away, beating Levante at home, drawing with Atlético de Madrid, also in Mendizorroza. It's a tough team to beat at home. And I told you last week also, Alvaro, I didn't trust Sevilla against Elche. I think it was a trap game for them. And they were even lucky to get a point in this game. And the only win came in Girona. I think Sevilla is, a relegation struggler. We should treat Sevilla same as Alavés, I would say, this season.
Look, I'm going to tell you something. I think that Alavés somehow is becoming a team that knows how to deal with this very well. It's like they are so used to being here that, they know how to negotiate with this. They never go deep into relegation, for example, which is an important thing. They never have a very bad run. And Sevilla, yes, I mean, the expectations have lowered down. That's undoubtful. And the grass is greener at the other side of the city. Betis is better than them right now. On the other hand, I am one of those crazy men that I think that Almeida, at least from all the decisions that Sevilla has made lately, Almeida was a fine appointment. I will try to explain myself. I think that he doesn't come with any big background, apart from being a Sevilla player over 20 years ago. He doesn't know many journalists. He's totally away from the fight between the stakeholders. He's a hard-working man, and he comes to do a job. And that's good. I think that, for example, having kept Joaquín Caparrós as a coach would have been maybe a bad idea. They needed fresh air. And some of the players that Sevilla have are not that bad. Okay, I don't think that they got a team to fight for big things, but Vargas, Swiss international, has recorded 3 assists already. I think that Isaac Romero, the striker from the academy, is all right, 25 years old, but still scored a goal, for example, the other day against Elche. So there are a few things that are okay, but still, I cannot consider them favorites for this game. Sevilla hasn't won back-to-back games in the league for over a season, Edu. Around that stretches up to 48 games. Last season, they didn't win any back-to-back game. This season either. 48 games in the league without doing that. You cannot trust Sevilla, especially away from home right now. That's the reality. Me trusting them is more some sort of a dream, a premonition that is based on nothing. Right now, we have to wait and see. So I have to go for a draw no bet for Alavés, 167. A safe bet in this game could be over 1.5 goals, 1.5, because Sevilla is conceding quite a lot. The other day, Elche scored 2 against them. By the way, what an irony, with Rafa Mir and Andrés Silva, two players that belonged to Sevilla in the past. But yeah, draw no bet for Alavés, considering that Alavés is well suited to this situation. Makes sense to me. Alavés comes from winning in Bilbao, by the way. They got a win in Bilbao, which is not easy. So draw no bet for them.
I like it. And Rafa Mir celebrated that goal. Actually, the Sevilla supporters were not happy about this. But
who cares?
Who cares, indeed. Under 2.5 goals for 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲. Next one is Villarreal Osasuna. Osasuna is actually used to deal with the situation, and it's a team that has been in Primera División almost always in the last 20 years and not suffering a lot. 6 points so far after beating Rayo and Valencia at home. All 4 games, by the way, under 2.5 goals. And Villarreal lost the last 2 games against Tottenham and Atletico Madrid without scoring, but they had their chances, especially at the Metropolitano. They played well, I would say, in phases. But perhaps we were hoping a little bit more from 𝐶𝐞𝐿 or Pepe is playing well, but he missed some chances. Álvaro?
Yeah, one thing that Villarreal is missing Baena. I tell you when and where. It will be in the final third and especially in transitions. I think Villarreal doesn't have such a good passer anymore, which is a problem. Sometimes you need a good passer to activate the strikers and the wingers. Maybe Moleiro can become this player, but so far he needs more time to adapt, that's for sure. Moleiro comes from Las Palmas. He was supposed to be somehow the player who replaced Baena, but it will take a while. One thing that I like about Villarreal is that at home they've been good. Edu, if you check the numbers, Villarreal got 6 points at home, 1 away. So that's why they are my favorites, by the way, here. I'm going to back them with a mini ACCA. Villarreal to win and over 2 goals in the game, because I know that at home they can score goals, and not only the strikers, but also Tajon Buchanan coming from the right-hand side, a little bit more from deeper, can do that as well. So I'm going to go for that mini ACCA in this game. As you can see, some games I just didn't like it at all, but in some others I'm ready to do ACCAs. And here I'm going to give my biggest tip of the weekend. 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐷𝗀𝐿, who has scored 2 goals, who has played 2 games for Villarreal, but hasn't scored yet. The most expensive player in Villarreal's history. I think he can score here. 𝐿𝐴𝐷𝗀𝐿 to score 5.0. Good players normally don't go over 2 games without scoring a goal or, just making a headline. 𝐿𝐴𝐷𝗀𝐿 to score 5.0. That would be my most ambitious bet. But of course, Villarreal to win and over 2 goals in the game is something that it may be more likely, because 𝐿𝐴𝐷𝗀𝐿 is still to prove himself in La Liga. But still, I trust on the Georgian striker.
𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲 going for both teams to score. Here, be careful, because Osasuna is not scoring plenty of goals. Actually, how many goals? 3 only. 3 goals scored, 2 conceded.
They have a very good goal difference. The good thing with Osasuna is that they've been like Rayo, one of these teams that with scoring very little, they have collected points.
Next one, also on Saturday, Valencia, Athletic Valencia, smashed, destroyed again by Barcelona. We mentioned it last week, the bad record last season with Barcelona's flick. Well, it was even worse, I would say. On Sunday, 6-0 could have been even worse, was pitiful. The image shown by the team is only 1 win this season against Getafe. And Athletic, I have another good friend, apart from you, Alvaro, Athletic fan, and he was telling me that he's not liking Athletic this season, despite the good results in the first weeks, that he's concerned, perhaps also because Nico Williams is out, perhaps now even more with Beñat Prados missing the whole season, but he doesn't see this Athletic working as well as last season.
No, I will agree with your friend. I mean, maybe in the future he's a friend of mine if he's got these good opinions. I mean, give him, who knows?
𝐷𝗲𝗿𝗄𝐻 member, 𝐷𝗲𝗿𝗄𝐻
season ticket holder. I'm going there on Tuesday, by the way, to watch Athletic Girona. I'll be going to 𝐷𝗲𝗿𝗄𝐻. But yeah, I mean, there are a number of reasons. The first and most importantly, Athletic Bilbao has a 25-man squad yet, but I think that 17 of them are proper senior, or 18 players are proper senior players. The other ones are youngsters who are yet to prove themselves. Some of them, I think that they can be good, like Navarro, who played against Arsenal, and I think that he did a very good 60 minutes. And from those 18 senior experienced players, 3 or 4 are injured. I'm talking about Beñat Prados, who was so important in getting the Spanish Cup 2 years ago. I'm talking about Nico Williams. I'm talking about Geray, who has been suspended for doping, a mistake that he made. So, you start counting, and you need these players to compete. You are involved in 2 competitions, one of them being the Champions League. In the Champions League, you cannot rotate. You cannot rotate there. And then Laporte came too late. I don't know if he's going to be match fit for this game, but it will be important as well. And then Nico Williams being out is so important as well, because he's the player. Against Arsenal, I missed, because I think that Athletic sit up well, and Arsenal too. Both sat deep, both defended well, but when Arsenal had the chances, they had the proper chance. When Athletic got the ball in the final third, I could see that there were maybe 2 Athletic Bilbao players against 4 Arsenal players. I think that Arsenal was never in numerical inferiority. Athletic Bilbao didn't attack with enough players. So that's something that Valverde will have to work on. And most of it comes from the fact that Athletic doesn't have a dominant number 9. Guruceta, Sanadi, I don't think they are those players. They are not those players. So the team doesn't have the threat Last season, though, the team had a lot of balance, and that's why they barely lost football games. They have to recover that balance, and Laporte being back is going to be so important, so important. For this game, look, Valencia is in such a terrible state after getting defeated 6-0 against Barcelona that they cannot trust them. On the other hand, they cannot put such a bad performance. They have to come out to this game with a bit of rage. Athletic Bilbao comes from losing against Arsenal. The mood in the camp is a little bit low. So maybe this is the moment for a draw. I think Valencia could take a draw and Athletic Bilbao could take a draw away. 3.10. I think the money is really good and it makes a little bit of sense to me. Athletic normally doesn't lose many games. You know that. I know that. Last season they didn't lose many. Coincidentally, now they have suffered 2 defeats in a row. So I think that Athletic could be happy with the draw here and they know how to play for the draw.
Under 2.5 goals for Omoyoma and Arnaldus. I could agree also. Seeing not many goals here. 1-1 goalless draw could be a good option here. Sunday, Rayo Vallecano, Celta Vigo. Both teams are playing in Europe. By the way, don't forget, Rayo are in the conference. And they lost to Osasuna 2-0 after the draw against Barcelona. But anyway, I think they are still playing good this season. They are favorites because Celta are poor, surprisingly, because in my opinion, I thought they were going to be in the European spots this season, although it's concerning, of course, having 2 competitions, but 4 draws and 1 defeat, still winless, Alvaro.
Yeah. Rayo Vallecano hasn't been getting very good results either, but I think that they've been better than Celta. In fact, Rayo Vallecano should have beaten Barcelona. I really think so. They didn't, but they should have. And that game was at home. Rayo Vallecano got only 1 point at home this season. It's time to revert that. And I think that they've got the capacity to do that and the players to do that. And Celta is a bit inconsistent. The bigger entertainer last season, probably one of the biggest entertainers. This season, they are just relying on last-minute efforts just to snatch a point here and there. For how long is this sustainable? I think that Borja Iglesias is offering a lot already. They're number 9. But Rayo Vallecano, playing at home, should be considered slightly favorite. So I'm going to back them with an Asian handicap minus 0.25. If they draw, you will suffer half a lose. For example, if you put 1 in your bet, you will get 0.50. But if you will lose 0.50. But if they win, you will win the whole stake, your whole bet. I think that's a good bet. Otherwise, these 2 teams, they are not scoring machines, but at the same time, they are rather offensive than defensive. I will say that. And they work very well on the transitions. Maybe Rayo Vallecano is in La Liga, the team that transitions better after Barcelona. So I'm going to go for over 2.25 goals, 177. But I prefer Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Rayo because I know that sometimes they play very well, but they struggle to score. So Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Rayo. It could be the case that they win 1-0 only.
Yeah, or a draw. Moyoma is suggesting could be another draw for Celta. Specialist in this, William, Celta is a potential banana skin, a ticket spoiler.
Tell me about
this season.
Tell me about it. Celta last season was one of the biggest source of disappointments for me because there were many games that they should have won easily and they didn't. They didn't because defensively they made so many mistakes. Yeah. I agree with our listener.
Rayo playing at home against 𝐋𝐞𝐿 and Celta playing in Stuttgart in the Europa League next week. Mallorca, Atlético de Madrid is the next one. If we check the table, we see Mallorca in the relegation spots, only 1 point, really bad start even. If 𝗵𝗵'𝐻𝐿 is still scoring goals, delivering, what a player, no matter the team, also with his national team. Is this kind of guys you don't want to cross at the elevator or in the box, scoring no matter where. And but again, it's a poor start for Mallorca. Also, for Atletico Madrid, although it's showing better things in the last week with the win against Villarreal, they conceded many chances actually, but they were clinical at scoring. Also against Liverpool, they were clinical because they didn't have many chances, and Llorente has just this fetish with Anfield. But the team is a fighter, and the problem with Atletico de Madrid, Alvaro, is this kind of games. Actually, when they are playing a lesser team that is going to play in their ground, that Mallorca is going to defend, is where Atletico de Madrid are suffering, especially after playing in Europe.
Yeah, but I'm going to back Atletico, because if they lose here, look, Atletico has 5 points now, right? If they lose here, they will end up the weekend probably 14th, 15th, probably. And Atletico has never belonged there with Simeone. So it will be that weird that I think that probabilities and precedents are telling us that this shouldn't happen. Mallorca has had a difficult calendar, I have to say, because at the end of the day, they have played against Barcelona in a game that they got 2 players sent off very quickly. Real Madrid, the leader of the table. They have played against Real Sociedad, which, at the end of the day, they are supposed to be in the top half of the league at the end of the season. So the calendar has been difficult. They have played against Espanyol, who is already third in La Liga. Maybe I can cut some slack for Mallorca. Yes, their captain went ballistic, and Dani Rodríguez criticized the team, the club, the manager, and I don't think he will ever play for Mallorca again. So the start has been difficult. And Atletico de Madrid was more than okay against Villarreal last weekend. Against Liverpool, I think that they played well for 65, 70 minutes. I really think so. I watched the whole game. It's true that their expected goals against Liverpool wasn't very high, 0.5. They didn't create many good chances. But I have the feeling that there was always something missing in the final third. The last pass, many crosses from Juliano Simeone that went straight to the defenders. A couple of decisions of 𝐿𝐭𝐵𝐺𝐻 that could have been better. Then Antoine Griezmann, for me, this is the most concerning thing for Atletico Madrid. Antoine Griezmann's legs right now are gone. They are gone completely. So if Julián Álvarez is not there, and Sorloth is not there. Sorloth, by the way, had the chance to score the 3-all in the last minute against Liverpool. It was a brilliant chance, and he didn't score it. If Sorloth and Julián Álvarez are not there, Atletico de Madrid doesn't have a lot of scoring threat. And Baena is not ready, won't be ready until October. But anyway, I think that they have what's needed to win this game. And I think that they will win it. Because it's unusual to see Atletico de Madrid midway through September or after 5 games. Between the 12th and the 15th spot qualified in La Liga. So I'm going to back Atletico to win 175. And I know that 𝗀𝗏𝗏 can be dangerous. He scored a brace against Espanyol, for example, and I agree with you. I would like to have a fight with 𝗀𝗏𝗏, especially in a dark place, because I think he will destroy me and you together, by the way. But Atletico to win 175. Yeah, I'm going to back
in
Atletico.
The dark,
I think that they were in that. Sorry.
No matter if it's dark or daylight, I don't want to cross with this guy. Always in my team.
Yeah.
Well, Mallorca to win or draw, I can never trust Atletico de Madrid away. For Omojoma, William is the opposite. Atletico de Madrid win or draw and under 2.5 goals. This is a tricky game, actually, because the odds are not great for Atletico de Madrid. 1.8, especially when they haven't been reliable so far. Let's see if they can recover some absentees at Anfield, because this is also important for them. Not having Julián, having to play Sorloth is a great difference, or even the Raspadori.
Raspadori, I never understood. I never understood the signing of Raspadori. I think that Atletico should have gone for a player like 𝐵𝗏𝗏, who can be good in 20 minutes and make a small revolution inside the game. But Antoine Griezmann is concerning. It's very concerning. Yesterday, he had a couple of chances to carry the ball and to run with it, and he stopped. I don't think he trusts on his legs anymore.
I thought he was going to the MLS, actually, with Thomas Müller. He loves NFL. I think he's meant to play NBA. He's meant to go to the US and enjoy life there, but he decided to stay one season more. 2 more games. Elche Oviedo, 2 newly promoted teams, 2 teams that should fight against relegation, but you mentioned it at the beginning, how Elche has adapted really well to Primera División with Eder Sarabia. They've been great, actually. It's 6 points, no defeats, having a tough schedule against Atletico Madrid, against Sevilla, against Betis. So kudos to them. And Oviedo, only 3 points with the win against Real Sociedad. These are the kind of games that the Oviedo shouldn't lose if they want to stay in Primera.
Yeah, I know, but I think they will lose this one. I think that Elche is the favorite, is the best team from the promoted side to La Liga, with two scorers that, at this point of their career, I'm not expecting Andrés Silva or Rafa Mir to play for a big team. But I have to say that at Elche levels, they are good strikers. They are good strikers. Andrés Silva, by the way, scored the other day his first goal in open play in over 40 games, which is crazy. And I have to also praise Eder Sarabia, the manager, because these are his first 4 games in the top flight as the first manager, okay? Because he's been an assistant in La Liga, but his start in La Liga has been impeccable. It looks like he wants to be here, he belongs here, and I think he's a good manager. He talks very well about himself. We know that. I also believe that his experience in Barcelona wasn't good. Because he was the second coach of 𝐿𝐭𝐿, or for whatever the reason the squad didn't respect Setién and Sarabia, but I'm happy for him, and I think that Elche is the favorite here. Oviedo hasn't been a disaster. Oviedo has done what they could in La Liga, but Elche has done way more than they can, and I think that they will carry this form into this game. So I'm going to go for Elche to win. It pays good, 2.05, and I like it. I think that right now they are better than Oviedo.
Elche, people. Marco is going for Elche. Me too, actually. And the last game is Barcelona-Getafe. Barcelona were brilliant against Valencia, the best game of the season so far, with Pedri, with Fermín, playing great, with Rafinha coming out from the bench, scoring 2. Also Lewandowski. Was the perfect game, but they are playing on Thursday against Newcastle. Probably Lamine Yamal won't be ready also for this game. And Getafe has had also a great start, 9 points with the players they have, with selling 𝗀𝐿𝐵. It's a miracle. I think they are going to be closer to the relegation spots than to the European positions at the end of the season, but already they have 9 points. It's 8 points more than the relegation spots. And Barcelona usually suffer when they go to 𝐜𝐭𝐚𝐲, but in Barcelona it's going to be very tough for Getafe. This game, again, Alvaro, played at the Johan Cruyff, right? With 8,000 people only.
Yeah.
That's
no. It's gonna be like that. It shouldn't happen like that. Well, I remember Luton Town in the Premier League playing in a very small ground when they got promoted to the Premier League, but it was their ground. That was the difference.
Exactly.
This is the third ground that Barcelona has, right? Has or is allowed to play in. Okay, it shouldn't have happened like this. This is from all the decisions of Joan Laporta and from all the goods and bads of his stint, this is the worst, in my opinion. Number one, he hasn't corrected the debt of Barcelona that goes over $1 billion. He hasn't corrected it. But number two, and more importantly, the Spotify 𝐿𝐭𝐴 should have been ready way before, or at least he shouldn't have given fake promises to people. Anyway, all that said, I think Barcelona is the favorite. Against Valencia, they show why they got a domestic double last season. When Barcelona goes in this mode, they are very difficult to stop. A force of nature, a proper force of nature. I love the display of Barcelona the other day, with Fermín being a legend between the lines. I think Fermín is going to give a couple of headaches to Dani Olmo, because right now Fermín looks like the big deal for the number 10 position. Barcelona has already scored 13 goals. It's true, 6 of them in one game. And then in the head-to-head against Getafe, they have won the last 6 against Getafe at home. Not always with ease. Not always. Last season even it was a little bit difficult, but Barcelona is the favorite for this game. That's for sure. Even though Getafe is in Champions League spots, they've got 9 points. This is their best ever start in La Liga. And a few players are stepping up. Milla, a player who is very good, by the way, has already given 4 assists. Liso, 3 goals in 5 games. He's going to leave, by the way, to the Under-20 World Cup and I can understand why. But that will happen at the end of September, which will be a shame for Bordalás because he lost 𝗀𝐿𝐴 and now he's losing his best scorer. Borja Mayoral, luckily, is finding his form. But anyway, I'm going to go for Lewandowski to score here. 204. I think Lewandowski is the kind of player who can score against Getafe, especially if you cross the ball, if you have to resort to playing against a very deep defense like Getafe will have at some point, especially at the start of the game. Maybe Barcelona will have to cross the ball more, put the ball in the box, and this is Lewandowski's territory. If he starts, Lewandowski to score 204. Otherwise, I'm going to go for Barcelona to win the second half. This is the kind of game in which it will be difficult at the start, but I believe that Barcelona is going to win it, most probably in the second half. That pays 157.
Barça minus 1.5, correct score 3-0 for Omoyoma Williams. Barça to win and both teams to score since Getafe will be fresher. Well, will be fresher, but Getafe is scoring actually in this start of the season.
They are,
but not sure if they are going to keep doing like this. 6 goals in 4 games is great, actually. Well, this is it, Alvaro. Next week, remember, we have La Liga midweek games, something strange, odd, since we have also Europa League. That's why Celta and Betis played their game some weeks ago. So on Monday, we have another appointment with La Liga. In the meantime, guys, you can post your predictions, your tips in Oddspedia and participate in our tipster competitions and win some money, 1,000 euros with Oddspedia. There you go. Or play with Rivals, our tool where you can create your own tipster competitions and challenge your friends. There you go, Alvaro. Safe bet.
Asian handicap -1 for Real Madrid, 130.
And some pressure now, Alvaro, with your ACCA. You were a legend with the ACCAs this season. I think it's been so far.
I want one.
You want? Okay. 1 out of 3 is fine.
No. I'm saying that I want one. I want one.
Okay.
I haven't recorded any yet. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
La Liga is giving me some headache, especially Atletico de Madrid. But anyway, this is my ACCA for this week. Only 2 variables there, which is Real Madrid to win and Mbappé to score. So this will be a mini ACCA. Barcelona to win the second half. I repeat, Real Madrid to win and Mbappé to score. Barcelona to win the second half. Altogether, 3.
We have some articles actually in our website about 𝐵𝗀𝗏𝗋, because when you do a combined bet in a game, you need to use the 𝐵𝗀𝗏𝗋. For instance, in Bet365, Betway, they have this tool. If you don't know how to use it, go to Oddspedia blog and there you will find the solution. Alvaro, thank you. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.